Dorshell Clark, and Dominique Hagler on People Think About It, where thought-provoking discussions abound.
Hey, welcome to People Think About It. Today we got special guests in the house, Rashia, and she's going to tell us a little about what we did. We got our co-host, Dominique, and we're going to get on to some goal setting, and that's what we're going to talk about today, accountability, responsibility, and goal setting.
Yeah.
And we're going to let you introduce yourself today, Ms. Rashia. Tell us a little about what you do and what you have accomplished in life.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate the platform. To everyone who don't know me, my name is Rashia Nicole. I am an author. I'm a mentor. I am a women's empowerment coach. I wear plenty hats. Currently, I have a nonprofit organization called the Happy Confident Future Foundation. We mentor kids between the ages of 12 to 17. We talk about self-esteem, dreams, leadership, goals, the things that help these young people become well-rounded individuals. So that's what we focus on. What else is going on in the land of Rashia? I have a gratitude journal. I authored 2 of them. One is called Goals, Grind, and Gratitude. It's a 90-day gratitude journal for women. And I have one that coincides for the teenagers called It's the Gratitude for Me. Both of those are available on my website, RashiaNicole.com.
And can they get it on Amazon as well?
Absolutely. Search Rashia Nicole on Amazon, and you'll be able to find it there.
Okay. So let's get into this. Let's get into this conversation today about accountability and goal settings. In dealing with young people or just dealing with people in general, how do we get them to start setting goals, or we set goals for ourselves, or how do we get people in our lives to be accountable? Where do we go? How do we get that started?
I think it depends on the age range. It depends on the person. It depends on the individual. One of the best ways that I have been able to get my teenagers that I work with, and even young people that I work with, to actually achieve their goals, set the example first. One thing about it is our young kids, they know the difference if you're being real, if you're being fake with them. They know how to spot someone who's being phony. So they're like, you can't tell me to do 1, 2, and 3 and you're not doing it. So be accountable by being accountable for yourself first and showing the example. And then 2, I think having real conversations with these people and just let them know that, hey, you're human. You make mistakes. I make mistakes. We all make mistakes, and that's okay. So let's figure out some real ways to achieve your goals in your lifestyle and to see how that works for you. So I think that's the best way to do that.
Yeah,
okay.
I definitely agree with her.
Okay,
on
well,
that.
let's see your outlook on that.
Yeah, so kind of to piggyback off of what Rashia said, as far as, setting goals and taking accountability, you first have to be honest, right? And I say that all the time. You have to be honest with yourself about where you are and where you're trying to go. One of the things that I've learned is when it comes to accountability, we also have to understand that there has to be radical accountability, right? And that radical accountability kind of goes hand in hand with everything else, right? So knowing that you are in full control of yourself, of your emotions, things like that, will then set you on the path to setting goals and being realistic with yourself and taking accountability. So like Rashia said, being the example to help someone else, see you do it, being accountable for yourself and holding yourself to a certain standard when it comes to, setting these goals and, just understanding and taking full accountability.
Right.
So, yeah, I do think that, you have to, when you do come to setting goals, you have to be realistic, right?
Yeah.
And not saying that you can't set a goal that's high or whatever, but you have to look at those steps and make it your business to stay committed to that when you are making those goals, you know what I mean? And I actually just talked about this on my little word of the day that I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays. A lot of people set those imaginary milestones, right? By 30, I want to be here. By 25, I should be here, right? The thing is, that's all well and fine, but you have to stay committed even if you don't hit that mark, right? And that's okay.
Right, because it's just like, I know with my oldest daughter and I, we talk a lot. Yeah. And we created vision boards, right? And some of the things on the vision board I accomplished, right? So I had put 2024, 2023 on the vision board. And the first thing she made me, that brought me to a realization, she was like, even though you put it there, and basically what you were saying, Dominique, as long as you're going on that pathway to get there, you might not hit it in 2023, you might not hit it in 2024, but it's a vision of yours, and as long as you stay committed to that vision, you're eventually going to accomplish that vision, but you have to stay focused on that vision, because if you don't and you get sidetracked, you lose the whole concept of the vision board. You know, then you're here, there, and everywhere. But I really strongly believe that the way people reach their goals is to be accountable to self first. Yeah. If you're accountable to self first and you hold yourself accountable for the things you do, because it's hard to me holding people accountable for things that you can't even hold yourself accountable to.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's just like having expectations for a person that you don't even have those same expectations for yourself. You know, like a lot of people in today's society go into relationships. Well, you got to have this, he got to have this, she got to have this, and that, but you don't even have it yourself.
Right. That is,
you know what I mean? So that's when I'm looking at, like, when you talking about accountability, hold yourself accountable first.
It's funny when you mention the vision boards, right? So we have this thing, we make vision boards every year. So it's January 1, let's get your vision boards made, let's do this, right? But when we're making these vision boards, we expect in these 365 days, everything better happen on there. Baby, you got to make $1 million on there, drive a Maybach, I want to live in a mansion, but right now you renting and you still have no car note, you know? So you're trying to figure it out, but it's like you have to make them realistic, attainable goals, and also be open to the fact that some of the ways that you think you might achieve your goals are going to change. So, and just because they change doesn't mean that the goal wasn't attainable or it's over, but the route to that goal is going to look very different than what you initially envisioned, and that is okay, because that's the beauty in the journey. A lot of times people try to skip that work part or skip that hard step part. We were talking about that before. You know, before we started, like, you can't skip the work. You have to go and walk the journey to get to your ultimate goal. And that journey may not look like what you expected for it to look.
And you have to appreciate the journey.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to. You have to appreciate every step of the way. And also, when it comes to your goals, you have to be able to bridge intention with execution.
Oh, I love that.
You know what I mean? Like, we could say, oh, well, tomorrow I'm going to go work out. Okay, well, then that's what you need to do. Don't say, oh, yeah, my back hurt today, I can't do it. You have to bridge the intention with the execution.
And just go do some exercise where it doesn't take you back.
You might have to do some wall Pilates today if you don't
you might have to walk.
You might have to walk. You might have to skip around your living room. Whatever it is, you have to bridge that gap. And I think a lot of us get lost in that space when it does come to the things that we want to do and having those goals and actually obtaining them. We don't, you know, we you know, the space in between your intention and your execution, that space creates room for self-sabotaging and, you know, just kind of creating procrastination and just kind of moving you from where you're trying to go. So when you say you're going to do something, you go ahead and you do it.
And I know, like, you and I, Dominique, we have talked about this a lot, that I think, like, even in today's society, when you speak a lot about mental health and stuff like that, I think that if we could take classes and teach people how to meditate, because meditate gives you inner beauty. You know what I mean? It's like, even if you create that vision board, well, if you meditate on how to get there, it takes you through a different path. You know, it's just like I often tell a story about, like, Dorothy and the Yellow Brick Road. If she stay on the Yellow Brick Road, they say she get back home. She reached her goals, right? But every time she got off that path, there was somebody else that was looking to get on that path to find what they need, whether it was a heart, whether it was a brain, whether it was courage. We all in life looking for something that we got to make it attainable. Like you say, you know, you can't, like you say, you can't say on a vision board, I want to be a millionaire, but you can't even save $10. Well, how about, you know what? My goal this month, I'm going to save $100. And then, you know, if I can get to the point I can save $100 at the end of the year, I got $1,200. But I may not be a millionaire, but I'm $1,200 closer to being that millionaire. You know?
I think too, right now, especially this younger culture, they have really embraced manifestation, right? And so they're like, I'm going to say, and I'm going to recite, and I'm going to say these things, and I'm going to manifest doing X, Y, and Z. But what happens when you can say it all you want? You can say it until you're blue in the face, but until you have execution, the manifestation are just words in the air. So we think like, oh, I'm going to just say it. I'm a manifest. I'm a manifest. That's cute. That's cute. That's real cute. Right. But we need some work that comes behind that.
Right, exactly. Yes, you do. Yeah. And you have to, too, you know, when you are, when you're creating these spaces for yourself, you know, I always say, well, in that setting, who do you blame? Like, do you blame the flower?
We talked about that.
You know, do you blame the flower, or do you blame the environment for the growth or the movement or the stagnation? Who do you blame? You know, in your environment, you want to set goals. You want to put yourself in a position where it makes sense, right? So, and I think that is a part of setting your goals and growing and being accountable and things like that. I feel like you have to put yourself in those circles.
Right. You have to piggyback off what you said. You have to put yourself in healthy soil. A flower or a seed only grows from healthy soil, and that healthy soil is you being around the right people that can help you grow. Right. You being around people that can water you, because some people, they're just there to water you. They're not there to see you grow. They're just there. Somebody's there to dig the hole. Somebody's there to plant the seed. Somebody there's to water, and somebody's there to nurture it. Right. Yeah. And then once it blossoms, you're there to take care of it. Because now I'm this new individual. I'm this new person, and if I don't do all the things I needed to do to get to this point, I'm like a rose. If I don't take care of it, I'm going to die in a couple of days.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you once you are fully blossomed, you have to know how to nurture you. You know, my daughter and I talk sometimes, and she says something to me about, you know, you have to teach people how to treat you.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and if you don't teach people how to treat you, they'll walk over top of you, or they'll abuse you, or they'll do what they want to do. And so that's part of your goal setting, is that, you know what, I have to take myself out of all this negativity. You know, even in life, you know, like I say, and I'm a big advocate of the social media, does a lot to people mental that's not realistic. And, you know, that I got to take myself out of that. You know, you chasing the wrong thing. I don't want to be in that environment, because if you chasing the wrong thing and I'm chasing with you, my flower going rotten too.
Yeah, and I think it's also about authenticity as well, right? Because you bring up social media, because everybody has an image or a facade they put on for social media. But what does your life look like when these lights go out, when this camera goes off? What does it look like at that point? And can you settle in, and can you appreciate the person you are when nobody else is around? Yes. That's what it really starts to truly matter, because if you start to appreciate that person who is right there when the cameras are off, you can start to love on that person when nobody's around. That's where the real work starts. Right. That's where we can really start to pour into ourselves and really say, all right, Rashia, wait a minute now. You know, the way you approach this situation might have been sideways. Or, hey, I'm really proud of myself for standing up in this regard. And start to build off of that. Now you're getting, and as my uncle used to say, you're cooking with gas. So,
for sure. No, and I feel like you have to be disciplined too. I think you definitely have to be disciplined, because life does we be getting lifed, okay? We be getting lifed all the time. Life be lifing. So, you know, having that discipline of being like, let me stay on track, because I know where I'm trying to go. I know today was a rough day. That's all right. Let me get it back together. Let me refocus. Having the strength to refocus when things may, like you said, Rashia, that might not be the path that you seen, but that don't mean that ain't the path. You know, it may not be how you saw it coming. You know, and when it's not how you saw it or could predict it or whatever, you gotta refocus. You know, discipline yourself to stay on that path and stay committed. That is the biggest thing.
Because I look at it like this. I was in the military, and the military is very disciplined. They have order and structure. And one thing is why the military works, because they have so much order and structure. You know, you wake up at a certain time. You eat at a certain time. You know, when you get out of this bed, this bunk has to be made. You know, it's not like you're going to get out of the bunk and just, hey, all right, what I got to do today? You know what? When you stand in formation, your uniform has to look a certain way. I was just going to
say, you have to make that bed a certain way. It's not just
you got to pull it tight. Like they say, they come and plug, and a corn in it got to bounce. You got to pull them sheets tight and everything. But your what they call a gig line, your line of your shirt and belt and everything got to line up. Your boots got to be clean. So they give you some kind of responsibility and accountability, something that you have to answer to every single solitary day.
Yeah.
And I think that when we look at society today, a lot of people don't have nothing to answer to. Tomorrow looks lost to them because they didn't accomplish what they was trying to achieve today. But, it's just like we just now said here, because I didn't achieve it today, and I think that's where a lot of people may make mistakes. It is they live for today.
Yeah.
And it's okay to live for today, but you also have to sit back and plan for the future.
Yeah.
Plan what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what? If I just so happen to live tomorrow, what's my plan for tomorrow?
What's my plan? And then, too, avoidance is a big one, too. So I was sharing with you guys, I'm a mental health therapist in training, so catch me next year this time, all right? But so one of the things that I've learned, mental health, it is real, and people are really going through real traumas that they have suffered. So they're like, I'm going to bury it, and I'm just going to live these 24 hours for these 24 hours because you're trying to avoid something else that's going on up here. Or if you had some traumas that you're trying to deal with from, let's say, childhood, and a lot of times it's childhood. A lot of times it's the little boy and the little girl in us that's still screaming for a hug or the attention or something that they did not receive previously, and it's affecting their day-to-day now. So you're avoiding those things, and you're like, all right, I'm just going to go with the wind, and, I'm just going to go ahead and let it fly. I've definitely talked to people like that, and we had to really get down to the root cause of, why are you feeling this way? Why are you behaving this way? Why doesn't today matter to you?
Right.
Whether you, do anything with yourself or not. Why aren't you planning for your next day or your next move? Do you feel like you're not worthy of? Have you not had any examples of? So really taking those different thoughts and experiences and really breaking it down for people, because that is what I feel like truly, truly matters. That's why I'm so happy that mental health is one of those things that's becoming a more popular subject, because we need it.
And I think a lot of people, mental health, and they surround themselves about their material wealth instead of their inner wealth. That when you sit back and you look at it, because a lot of things today is based on what you have, where you live, what you wear, what you drive. And, you said it earlier, because I'm 30 years old and society say, well, by the time you're 30, you better have this or you should have had it. It makes you almost feel like you're a failure. Because now I'm 30. You know what? There's people I came up with. This person driving a Mercedes. This person live over in a nice fancy house and stuff. But you know what? We don't know what they did to plot out their life to get to that point, right? But we allow society to put so much mental on us behind things.
Absolutely.
You know what? We wake up every morning chasing things because we want the best.
Yeah.
I want the best for my kids. I want the best for my husband. I want the best for my wife. But if you ain't even got the best for yourself, you can't have it for nobody else.
What you gonna do?
If you can't heal self, you can't heal nobody else.
Yeah.
It's like I constantly share this with people that you have to admit either what's bothering you or you have to admit what's wrong with you in order to start the healing process. It's just like when you go into Alcoholics Anonymous, you have to admit you're an alcoholic.
Yeah.
When you go into drug rehab, you have to admit you're a drug addict, right? When you come to Christ, you got to admit you're a sinner, right? So you have to admit, and that doesn't mean you're going to change overnight, but now the healing process can start.
Absolutely.
Because I have admitted, it's just what you said earlier, right? Whether it's childhood trauma. Let me admit this happened to me.
Yeah.
No matter whether I was molested or whether I didn't get showed love or whether I got beat with extension cords and stuff. Let me admit this happened to me. Now I can start the healing. You know? Right. And I think that's where a lot of us miss it at because we don't want to admit what happened to us.
Ooh, yeah. That's a good one. It makes me think of when I was 18. I went and I graduated high school. I went off to college and I'm like, I want to get a car. I grew up in poverty. There's no secret about that. But for me, I had to attain this status. So this material status to make it look like, hey, I'm the one who made it out the hood. Hey, I'm the one who went off to college and I have a car and I have this and I have that. So a lot of things that I tried to get and I got it too soon and I had to learn the hard way. Like, I can afford a car, but you can't afford to pay the car note and the insurance. So you learn the hard way, when you try to put on this facade for people and really not heal what happened to you. Like, poverty is more than just the money in your pocket. It's a whole mindset.
Exactly.
So I had to heal from that. You know, I had to heal from being raised by a single mother, because just things in my life were different. So I had to heal from that. And I love that you brought up having your circle around you too, because that matters. It really truly took, when I got married, I got married 12 years ago in August. So when I got married, thank you. And we, started doing this thing called marriage and this thing called life together. And I started to realize, like, oh, wait a minute. Certain things that I thought were supposed to be this, there really aren't. And I don't have to make up for something that happened in my childhood, because guess what? You have someone who loves you for who you just are. Yep. So when you really, again, start to realize that stuff, we went through marriage counseling. I had to break down the 10-year-old Rashia and say, hey, girl, it's okay. Like, I really had to speak to her and say, guess what? You're not a single mom. Right. So you don't have to do things just like your mom did them. Right. Things are going to look a lot different for you. Mm-hmm. When I started to realize that, I started to accept myself a lot more. Like, you know what? I am that deal. Y'all been...
You know what? And I want to touch on that.
Yeah, that is very true.
I want to touch on that because I think for a lot of women in today's world, that's a big battle. Yeah. Because, I first of all, let me say this. I struggle with, especially our sisters calling each other bitches. Mm-hmm. I struggle with that. Okay. You know what I mean? Because I think more highly of them. Mm-hmm. Then, you allow, and we say, okay, it's a term of endearment. But then you got the ones that says, I'm a boss, or, I don't need a man, I don't this and that and the other, right? And I understand sometimes, when you out there doing it by yourself, you have to take certain positions. Mm-hmm. I get that. Mm-hmm. But then I go back to what you said. When you do have somebody in your corner to help you, you got to learn to let that go. You know what I mean? Because if you don't learn to let that go, you're going to end up in a bad situation. I can promise you that, And
that person is really a part of your healing, whether you know it or not. Yeah. It does heal. It's like a touch. Like, okay, cool. Oh, well, I know I saw my mom take out the trash by herself and wash the dishes and fold up the clothes. This man said, lay it all on me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Lay it on me. Mm-hmm. I got you. What you need? But I think when it comes to those terms, when women say, oh, we don't need men or anything like that, I think it's more so we don't need the today's now kind of man. We need the man. Right. Yeah. There is not a lot left, right? So when you have someone that allows you to heal, right? And they're walking with you, and this is a journey for the both of y'all. It's not just a you thing or a him thing or whatever. It's a journey for the both of y'all. So in turn, you don't know what he deals with. So now she may come in and be healing, just
right? Healing each other, right?
Yeah, creating a safe space for each other.
Right. It's just like that old cliche. They said the woman said, she told her daughter, I don't need a man. I don't want a. The daughter said, I don't want a man. The son said, I don't want to be a man. Mm-hmm. So you go through those changes because. I just feel like this, and I stand on this. Yeah. I don't care if you have a child with someone, and you can go your way, you go on, but you still have responsibility to that child. Yeah. And then we go back to the mental illness. Now, this child got to deal with separation, because guess what? This child love both of their parents for the most part. Yeah. As long as they're not fed that nonsense. So for the most part, they love both of their parents. Mm-hmm. But we as an adults, we put these kind of burdens on these children, right? Yeah, yeah. So we lose our accountability. Yeah. We lose our focus, and we putting these burdens on someone else, So I just say to any man that's out there listening, if you have kids, step up and be a father to your kids. Yeah. I don't give a darn whether you and this mother hate each other guts. Don't put that burden on them children. Yeah. So I just wanted to make that a little announcement, because I think that black women are probably, to me, the most beautiful people that God has put on this planet. They are some of the strongest people that God put on this planet, because it's a lot of burden on, especially in today's society. Mm-hmm. I see so many young black women raising kids, dragging them through Walmart. There's 3 or 4 of them, and I hear them cuss at them and stuff, and I'm like, I get a little bit out of shape, but then I got to understand, because I don't know what their frustration have been that day, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I just say to all you fathers out there, that's listening to this show, step up and be a father.
Yeah.
Step up and be a father, step up and be a man.
1,000%. I say it all the time. Now that I am married, you know, and I have my husband, I don't wish single parentism on anybody because it is hard.
Yes,
With this
it
3.5-year-old, we have an ongoing joke. I'm like, who gonna raise all these kids? And it's really just him, but he feels like about 10 of them. But it's like, you know, like it is hard enough, you know, with 2 people, let alone 1. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. So I remember I was shopping and I was talking to a lady and she said something like, "Oh, I don't want the man, I just want the kid." And I'm just like, that's trauma in you talking.
Yeah.
That's like that's trauma in you talking. Like that's not really what you mean, because also too, when we think about it in that context, and I know we're talking about accountability here, but when we think about it in context, you're being selfish in your thinking because you're only thinking about yourself. We really do need that. These children, they need both of their parents. They need those 2 perspectives. I wish I had that male perspective from a father's point of view in my life. So I had like my uncles, they stepped in, my brothers, but my father was kind of just in and out. So I didn't have that consistent male, you know, voice per se to tell me, you know, the ins and outs. But I'm like, come on now. Like, we really do have to join together and raise these babies together. They deserve it, if anything.
We want to welcome our next guest that had just come in, Miss Sadie Evans.
Hello.
She's doing big things as well. And you want to tell a little bit about the things you have going on, Miss Sadie?
So, my name is Sadie. I'm an author, a speaker, and I have a podcast. Right now, I'm really working on my Power We Hold program. So, I was on the Portia show speaking about my book, The Power We Hold. Then I am teaching a seminar at a convention this weekend for Toastmasters.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
So, you know, see, we as men, we constantly keep powerful women around us.
There you go.
What I mean? I'm in the studio by myself, surrounded about, you know, I got one powerful woman videotaping. I got 3 other powerful women speaking, and we got 2 little powerful women over there that's going to become women, you know.
There you go.
So, I mean, this is how important it is. And like I say, it's about accountability, responsibility, and, you know, reaching that goal and dealing with that inner you and surrounding yourself with the right people and keeping your circle tight. You know, keep that circle tight, because if you don't keep that circle tight, the minute it breaks, there's a problem.
Yeah.
There can be an intruder.
No, yeah.
I agree.
So, Sadie, since you just joined us, what is your perspective on setting goals?
I think that goals is like our GPS system. Without them, I remember when I did not used to set goals, and when I used to hear people say they set goals, I'm like, why do you have to do that? Just go with the flow.
Yeah.
But now that I do it, I realize you do things with excellence when you have that goal set.
You put yourself on a time frame.
Yeah, it's just clean.
I want to go around and ask that. Do you think in goal setting there should be a time limit on it?
Yeah, I definitely put time limits on my goals, and depending on if it's a long-term goal, if it's a short-term goal, time is important. I'll use weight loss as for instance, right? In 2021, I was 313 pounds.
Wow.
When I moved down here, I was 313 pounds. And my entire life, I went through the yo-yo of, I'm gonna lose 100 pounds this year. I'm gonna lose 100 pounds this year. But I did not put time behind it, and I didn't put the effort behind it. I'll be honest, I did not. And when I reached that point of like, all right, you 313.
Right.
What are we gonna do for real?
Right.
Real talk, I'm like, that's my area code, girl. That's your weight on the scale too.
Right.
So what I had to do was, I'm like, 1, let me set a goal and be serious about this thing. I can't lose 100 pounds in a year, but let's be realistic about this goal that you're setting. You are 36 years old. You have this heavy weight on you. What do you need to do to actually achieve this goal? Not what somebody else did.
Yes.
Not what old girl on TikTok did. No, what do you need to do for your body?
Yes.
Your body.
That will work for you.
Exactly.
I went to that doctor really quick and I said, hey ma'am, do I qualify for weight loss surgery? Because your girl is, listen, I've done the things. And I did. And again, even in that process, people think, oh yeah, weight loss surgery, you just gonna lose all the weight.
No.
Absolutely not.
Yep.
Before I even got on that table, it was, I need you to lose and
X amount of pounds first.
X amount of pounds.
Go see your
first.
nutritionist. Okay? Yeah, let's see.
So
We'll
the
check
goal
back.
now is, all right, 30 minutes a day. So there's a time frame on that, right? So 30 minutes a day. If I give myself 30 minutes a day, it's January. I want to have the surgery by May. I have something to do. So in answering your question, absolutely I had to put a time frame on that to say, listen, this is how much it takes out of my week. This is how much it takes out of my day so I can achieve this bigger goal. You want to lose 100 pounds? Great. It's attainable. But let's put some time frames to it because it holds you accountable.
Now, how do you think, or how would you suggest to stop people from having unrealistic goals? What would you say to, like, we all have friends that have unrealistic goals. We've been knowing them all our lives, and this joker would say, I'm going to do this and I'm doing that. And every time they say it, they never do it, right? So how do you deal with a person, knowing or unknowing them, to get them to, because just with conversation with somebody, you can meet somebody and they say something to you and you're looking at them like, okay.
Right. Well,
So how do you get people?
I don't think you can. You don't really.
Or get them to see it. Not necessarily get them to stop it. You get them to see it.
I have crazy faith. I'm a big dreamer. So when people tell me big things, I believe that can happen for them. So I don't.
Right. Now, yes, and that, what Sadie said. However, though, I feel like it's not my place to be like, humble yourself. You know, bring it down some. I don't feel like that's my place. So for me, if you said you want to build a rocket ship by next week, hey, the gig is up. Let me see I want to see.
How? I'm like, what are you?
What are your steps? Right. Yeah. So tell me. What's your process of thinking? Right.
I guess that's the unrealistic thing. If somebody said, "I want to build a rocket ship by next week," but you don't know nothing about nuclear science, you don't have none of the stuff in place. You ain't got.
Okay. So if you want to, I guess, help them be realistic, you then ask the questions. So what have you been doing?
Okay, I get that, right.
Because now you got to reel it back in. Because it's like, so you really think you ready for
come back door on.
Exactly.
Like I'm not going to kill your dream, but let me help you out here.
Yeah, you know what? I got in trouble asking questions, too, because it was like, why you asking me all that? Like, because now it looks like I don't believe in you because I'm asking you questions. Right. So, again, this is the therapist in me. Now I learn what questions to ask instead of,
but questions holding you accountable.
They are, but sometimes people, they're real fragile. And they get offended. So the way I'm gonna ask the question, instead of did you do the research? Did you talk to such and such? Tell me your process. What does your process look like? Share that with me. So if I say it like that, what you're doing is not, and this, I'm telling you, any therapist gonna tell you this. When they do that to you, they're literally making you take what's up here, say it out loud. So when you say it out loud,
you can hear what you're saying.
You can hear what it is that you're thinking. You can see if it's actually something that makes sense. And as you say, you're like,
that'll make sense. So maybe not next week. Maybe like in a few years.
Yeah. So then basically, I guess like you say, come in the back way and ask questions that makes them start thinking about even if their goal is attainable.
Right. Without
offending them.
Right. Without offending them.
Yeah.
That's me personally. Sadie, you want to go and say on the time limits for your goals?
On time limits. I believe in SMART goal acronym though. So I feel like, so how I do my goals is I set a small goal, I set a big goal, then I set small goals to achieve that big goal. Okay. And I put a time on that. So say for instance, I know I want to lose weight. I want to lose 38 pounds by October 7th. So what I do is say, okay, I want to lose 5 pounds by April 30th, then 5 pounds by this month. That's how I do it. My big goal was to lose 38 pounds. The small one's to lose 5 pounds a month. That's how I set my goal.
So that it feels realistic.
It makes realistic.
Sense. Instead of saying, I need to lose 38 pounds, and now you looking like, ooh,
how am I
that's a lot of weight.
It sound a lot.
Yeah.
But when you break it down, you say, hey, if I lose a pound a day, you know what I mean? A pound a week. Excuse me, I meant to say that. A pound a week, that's 4 pounds a month.
Right.
You know what I mean? That don't sound like, 38 pounds. How in the world? I still like bending my elbows.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because you feel at it. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I believe our brain, because you're a therapist, so I'm in the mental sector too. I'm a human service major. So I believe our brain, when we write things out, our brain automatically wants to create a strategy to solve that issue. So when you do it like that, your brain is automatically going to say, how can I break this 38 pounds down?
Right, exactly.
For most people, and that's the way it works.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Sadie.
I agree with you because I know that, like, even though we got these smartphones and things of this nature, I still believe in pad and pencil.
Me too.
Because I tell you this, with
Yeah.
pad and pencil, and a guy told me this a long time ago when I first got into business. He said, you might come up with some great ideas, but you're never going to remember them all. Mm-hmm. But if you can always go back and write them down, you can always go back and reflect on those ideas.
Yeah.
That's what made me appreciate pad and pencil. You know what I mean? Because you could put it in your phone, and we know these phones can black out or something, then you lost your idea.
At any moment, too. And if you think about it, this is why we journal, right? And it's why I came out with a gratitude journal. There is something about when you physically take an ink pen and you put it to that paper, there is that energy, that emotion that comes out when that pen meets paper. And even when you go back and read it, you can feel those emotions
everything
over again. And it's like, oh, I know.
Because it's a thought process.
Pen stroke is different. Your penmanship is even different. How hard you're pressing on the paper, like those things matter when those different ideas come back up and those feelings come back up.
I agree.
You start to feel a whole lot better. I'm telling you, it's nothing like it.
Rashia, can you explain what a gratitude journal entails?
Absolutely. So the gratitude, because people think about, all right, gratitude, say thanks, right? But it's a whole lot deeper than just saying thanks. When you appreciate and when you show gratitude for even the smallest things that you have, even the moment that we're in this room right now, I'm thankful for, I have gratitude for, it puts a certain positive energy not only out into your atmosphere, but it plants it into you as well. So when you are grateful for the things that you have, you open the door for the things that you don't have and the things that you want. Gratitude is like a door. When you open that door of gratitude and those things and those positivity things start to flow your way, you're writing what I'm grateful for. And let's be honest, right? We're not going to sit here and talk and make it seem like, everything's always peachy keen and everything's always great. My gratitude journal, and even when I'm writing in the gratitude journal, it's more, for me, it's more impactful when I am going through something, because now I really got to connect and figure out, like, man,
the lessons you're supposed to learn.
I feel like, the mind is so strong, you have to use all levels of the mind. And what I mean by that sometimes what you think is trial and tribulation is something that's pushing you to the next level. Because of the mere fact that if you don't use that thought process, then you begin to think everything just easy. You know what I mean? Because you never had no trials and tribulations. And then as soon as you get to a spot that you never had trials and tribulations, you can't even figure it out. It's just like I tell people, like, in my era, I seen my parents, like, it was 6 of us, like, how we gonna eat? I mean, they come up with dumplings, and I found out dumplings ain't nothing but flour, so you eating flour. And then we're gonna break up the chicken instead of you getting the whole piece of chicken. We're gonna break that chicken up, we're gonna put in some dumplings, and we got chicken and dumplings. So it's a survival thing that come to your mind. But if you don't use all aspects of your mind, you're never able to figure something out. Each of us sitting at this table today, you've written books. You've been acting and writing books and do things like that. We had to figure it out. You know what I mean? And once we use that other part of our mind of figuring it out, doing it becomes the easy part. Once you done figured it out, doing it becomes the easy part. Because once you do it and it becomes repetitious, now you just do it without even really thinking about it.
And you know what, too? I'm going to share this tip about expressing gratitude. And even if you never pick up my gratitude book or whatever, like, if you do this, it will help. So what I have is at home is a gratitude jar. And it's really like a clear jar with the top on it. And for an entire month, it was my goal to write down something I was thankful for, like on a sticky note, and then I will fold it up and I'll put it in this jar. So I knew, as we all know, hard days, tough days are going to come. But then when you go back and you have those days, you reach in that jar and you just randomly, blindly pick one out. And when I promise you, it brought a smile to my face every single time I've had to reach in that jar and pull it out. It's almost like filling up your own cup.
Yes,
right?
I love that.
So you fill your own cup with gratitude, and when you need that pickup, when nobody else is around, when you're in the room and you're crying and you're by yourself and you just going through, reach in that gratitude jar. Yes. Pull out something that you have been grateful for. Read it, because when I tell you it's going to do something to your spirit, it's going to do something to your energy. It's a complete energy shift. Yes. Try it, do it. I promise you. Yeah. I don't make bold promises.
That's a good idea. Very good idea.
That's just like I'm a barber too, and I hear a lot of stories, right? And when you talk about gratitude, I hear a lot of people complain and things of this nature, right? One of the things I tell people, one of the biggest gratitudes you have, you know what I tell them? I say, here's what I'm gonna do. I'll put my hand over their mouth and hold their nose. And they start breathing. I say gratitude.
Right. Yeah, no.
Because everything else don't even matter.
Right.
Because guess what? If you can't breathe, everything else don't matter.
Right.
You know, I've got friends of mine that owns a funeral home. I've worked in the funeral business. Them people ain't breathing.
Right.
But we all say they're in a better place. So, you know what? All I know is this. When I get up every day and I'm breathing, I thank the Lord I'm still breathing. And to me, for right now, until I go to the other side, this seems like a better place.
Exactly.
This seems like a better place.
Like my job here is not done. Right, exactly. I still got stuff to do.
And I think when you reach this level in your life too, you have to change your circle. If your circle does not speak that same language, you have to move them out of your circle. And I'm gonna just touch on a story that just happened last week. So I took my daughter to Disney World, and I went with my so-called best friend. Now we are very much alike, but we were very much different, right? And the difference came in because I'm the healed one, the one that is working on being better, right? And she's polar opposite, so it's everything is negative, you know. And so when I tell y'all that trip was great, right? Because I was able to do that. I was able to take my daughter there. I was able to take the time off of work. I was able to have a good time with her. However, what I learned on that trip is when you get to certain levels in your life, certain people cannot.
They cannot.
The air
talk about that.
They can't come with you. And so, you know, I've taken months now. I'm pouring into this young lady, and I'm like, you know, you got to show gratitude. You got to be happy where you are, because if you're not happy and grateful for where you are, you will never be past this. You will stay here, stagnant. You can't. And so when I knew what I was dealing with, but I didn't want to be mean because it was for the girls. It wasn't for me. It was for the girls. Mainly,
you needed that eye opener,
right?
Too.
And so we went on a trip, and when I tell y'all everything went bad, I mean everything went bad. Right? The flight got delayed. Okay, we get to the car rental place. All the tires is flat on the car. Have to go get another car. Get to that car, get to a restaurant. My wallet is in the other car. Have to drive back to get the wallet. We did not get to the hotel until almost 3 o'clock that morning.
Wow.
And it just kept on going and kept on going. The rental car got hit. It was just,
that gives me the chills because people don't believe in energy.
Oh,
energy
yes.
is real.
It is a real thing.
Yes.
It is a real thing. And I was like, God, I know what you're saying. When I touched down in Georgia, baby, I promise you, I went upstairs. I got her daughter Easter basket. I was like, listen, I'm through.
Yeah.
You cannot be
I was just going to ask you, what was the biggest lesson that you learned from this trip?
It was like, I have to see people for who they are right away. Yeah. There is nothing that I can do if you have not gotten to that point of change. You haven't gotten to that point of understanding and realization and being honest and being accountable. And, you know, you have to move because that's where I am. Yeah. You know, and not to knock anybody down, but you can't be here with me.
Yeah. You know something in your story you were saying, and I think that people have to understand this. A broke person can't heal nobody. You know, and like you were saying, hey, I'm there and all this stuff is going bad and I'm dealing with it in a certain way, but you're still putting that bad energy out there.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're broken, you can't heal another broken person. Go ahead, Sadie. What you have to say?
A lot of people miss Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them. A lot of people miss the end part of that. And she said the first time.
Yes.
A lot of people miss that. You have to believe people for who they are the first time. I used to be just like that because I always thought I could fix people, especially when I was broken. I was the master of trying to fix people when I needed to really fix myself.
Right.
Yeah. So now that I'm healed and I'm evolving, it's just certain stuff I stay away from. I'm even thankful for this moment because I'm surrounded by high achieving women. Even when I see you post, I'm like, thank you, God, for even connecting me with something.
Right.
Thankful for that.
Yeah. And you know, and for me, it's like you like we said, you gotta go through those things, right? Because once you go out and you know how, I got out.
Because
it's doable.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let me see what else. So if I got out of that and this is what I got from that, let me see what else. Come on.
And everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens
like
for a
that
reason.
Entire experience was supposed to happen just the way that it was supposed to happen. Because on your vision board, your bestie might have been with you throughout the end of the year, right? And God, like, hey, I'm trying to take you from here to here, but I can't do that with this person hanging on you. You know, it's time for that person to go.
And I was like, you know, people don't talk about grieving the right decisions because you grieve the right decisions, right? So I'm like, we had a, you know, grieving the right decisions, right? So we can grieve the loss of a person or things like that, but when you are grieving a decision that has to be made, you're still grieving because that part of you is now gone. That person is no longer a part of your everyday or your routine, and you essentially grieve that. So, you know,
it's like death.
It's like death. It's like, dad, you know, this is my homie. I could call you. We was going, you know, but for me, I was like, but we're not though. You know, we're not, because when I was pouring into you, all you was doing was you were just taking it from me. You were taking it from me.
Your cup.
You were draining my cup, and you were never really pouring back. You made it seem as though you were, but you weren't. And then when all of that transpired, a lot of stuff happened on Instagram. Oh, she's so evil. Oh, she want to be.
See, that's what I'm talking about. First thing people want to do is go to social media.
When you go to social media, that friendship is done.
Oh, it's
over.
You go
through things in
you know, oh, you want to fake be positive for the internet. And I'm like, anybody that knows me can attest to who I am each and every day. Each and every day.
Oh my God.
I wake up, I get on Instagram every Tuesday and Thursday, and I do that faithfully. Instagram not paying me. But I know I'm going to touch somebody. You know what I mean?
You have to match, and I hate to say this, but it's real. She might think that because when you hang with people that's negative and they always like saying something negative, you be like laughing, but in the inside you like, I don't want to do this no more. So you have to match their energy. So just eliminate them altogether.
And then too, you also have to realize when you're a light, see, darkness can never overcome a light. Even though it tries. We can cut all the lights out in this room right now. If somebody picks up their phone and a flicker is going to overcome that darkness. So we have to look at our friendships the same way. So sometimes when people bring that darkness and they try to overcome you, you're a light, so you're always going to shine. And what it's going to do is literally piss them off. But when it does too, it helps us realize that we have to watch our circle because everybody that's sitting in your circle, if they can't cheer for you when you're doing well and they can't do the, you know, and really truly wish you well, if they can't wish you well, then that's a problem.
And you know, a lot of these situations that we're in too, it shows our growth, right? Because what I really got out of that is the growth for myself, right? Because I can talk about, I could whatever, but when I'm tested like that, and when I tell y'all can call my mama, she'll tell you, I call her crying. That's how bad it got. For her to be like, for even her and my best friend, they're like, wow. I could just see the growth in you, because the Dominique from before would have been like, oh yeah, can y'all come get me out of jail down in Orlando? Bail me out.
It's just like you say about the light. It's just like when I was in the military, right? And you out there in that jungle in the woods, they would tell you never light a cigarette. Because if you light a cigarette, a sniper can see that light 400 meters away and will knock you off. Somebody that's a sniper, they see that light. 400 meters is a long way. And they can see as soon as you strike that match or light that cigarette, they see it. They look for it. But like you say, you know, darkness will never dim out the light.
Never.
Right.
And I want to say something too. I'm a believer. I mean, I think all of us are believers. But I love how faithful God is, because He'll remove people out your life, but He'll add people that's on your level, people that's going where you're going to your life. So it's like you're not missing anything. You grieve that. Yes, you grieve that. And that's okay to go through, because it's a comfortability. You were comfortable. That was your friend. But God always adds better to your life.
Even if you don't feel it initially. Right? Because we're not going to feel it initially. We're grieving. Right? We're going through our stages of grief. We're really grieving. But it's like, all right, when we get to that point of like, oh, that's what this looks like. Okay, I feel better now. You know, it definitely changes.
I think that sometimes that badness or that wickedness that's put in front of you. I'm not going to say put in front, but it's put in front of you. And we as humans, sometimes we keep oh, okay, this happened. I'm gonna let that ride. Oh, this happened. I'm gonna let that ride. This happened. But it's keep getting introduced to you for the fact that your spirit's telling you move away from it.
Yes.
But you keep saying, I'm welcoming it in. I'm welcoming it in. You know, okay, it happened this time. It's bad this time. It's bad. No, if it's constant, and like you said, that energy is constantly negative, it's telling you to move away from it.
Absolutely.
And that's part of that accountability and responsibility. The responsibility is to yourself, right? The accountability is more responsible to you.
Yeah.
And it's hard too because we get caught up in that stage of people pleasing. You know, because it's like, I don't want such and such to be mad at me. I don't want the backlash because they might go online. Go on social media. They're gonna start talking. And that's a sign right there. You know, like I shouldn't have to worry about people pleasing. The only person I have to be accountable for is myself.
Because people will even do like this. Your friends that are around you. Well, I don't like Dominique. Well, you two, my friend, I expect y'all. Why? She ain't never done nothing to you. Why should you two not like her because I don't like her?
I literally just went through something I literally just went through something like that, and you know, without telling all the biz, but I was expected to not wish someone well because of something that they did to somebody else, and I'm just like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like. Me wishing somebody else well has nothing to do with you. So you can't tell me not to wish somebody else well. It has nothing to do with you, and it really don't have nothing to do with them. That's my energy, and that's who I am. What do I look like wishing ill will on somebody, especially somebody who I don't even know like that? And I'm only getting the gospel according to whoever I'm talking to, right? So it's always more than one side to a story.
His side, her side, the truth.
Absolutely. And even with those three sides, guess what? I'm not that person's judge or jury. The only thing that I'm supposed to do is I'm going to send you well wishes. I'm going to send good energy out there.
Love and light.
And I'm going to send you love. Do I think karma is real? It's going to come back around?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely it is. But when it does come back around, I still, listen, I pray that you well. I pray nothing but goodness for you because that's my life. And when, again, I refuse to let somebody else dim my life, you know, because you want me to come down here to this darkness with you and this level with you. I can't do that. I refuse to do that.
I used to be like that. I used to be like, you know, they used to say when someone go low, you go
lower.
I used to be like, I go lower, but now I'm so healed, and I'm like, I go higher. I don't even entertain.
You as Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high.
I mean, because you have to, because you'll find yourself in that. You go low, I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell. Me, I'm going to hell. Okay. You know, but you know when you get to that point of being like. But no.
I can't.
I can't even
because you
why?
It, like afterwards, you got to deal with yourself, and you like, why did I? Do
you
that?
got to answer
I
to
should have
yourself.
said this. I shouldn't have did that, and it's just like I'd rather not.
I'd
rather go home with my thoughts and know I made the right decision.
Exactly.
That's right.
I agree.
Let's do this. Let's get ready to wrap. So give us again your books, where people can contact you.
Spell it out so we'll know.
I will.
People can contact you.
My mama got real fancy in the 80s on my name, okay? It was David James Michelle Rashia. Okay, so guys, my name is Rashia Nicole. I am an author, speaker, mentor, all the things, baby. I wear all the hats. I have 2 gratitude journals, Goals, Grind, and Gratitude. And also, it's the Gratitude for Me. You can find it on Amazon. My name is spelled Rashia.
Fancy.
Nicole, the normal way. Nicole. You can catch Rashia Nicole on all social media platforms. I also do a podcast on Mondays called Mindset Monday. Mindset Monday, we talk about self-esteem, just healthy self-esteem. Not just, be happy. But no, literally, what does healthy self-esteem look like and how do we achieve that? So I talk about that on all my social media platforms and anywhere where you listen to podcasts, you can find me. So thanks, guys, for the platform. Right.
And Miss Sadie, can you close out? Give us what you do and how people can
you don't want to know what I do?
We're going to get to you.
We're going to get to you.
I know. I'm coming around.
So my name is Sadie Evans. That's Sadie. Evans, EVANS, and I am an author, again, speaker, and I also have a podcast. I have a book coming out called The Power We Hold, 7 Strategies to Discover Yourself. So it talks about everything we talked about. Ooh. So, yes, and I'm on all social media sites. My podcast is on all wherever podcasts are available. And,
Okay. All right, Miss our co-host, Miss Dominique.
So hey y'all,
We're going high.
this is your girl Dominique Hagler. You know I am here. I am the co-star of People Think About It, and that's what we make you do. We make you
Dolly
think.
with the word.
Okay, period. So you can find me not only here on Wednesdays talking about relationships and how to get your life in order, but you can also find me on Instagram doing the word of the day on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the morning. Okay, I am your morning mixer. Okay,
All right.
And then on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. you can find me at Dolly Said It on Dolly Said It podcast, where I am talking about getting your life together. With these young ladies, we know we do have the same vision and the same goal, right?
Yeah.
Being better, creating better spaces for ourselves, and I'm honored to be in a room. These are the circles you need.
Yes.
Put yourself in the circles that make sense for where you're trying to go. Okay, that is the word of the day.
Yes.
And I just want to reach out and thank our guests for being here today. I hope you guys that listen to People Think About It, we get you to thinking, because that's the major thing. Is we want to get you to thinking. We hope that if something was said here this evening to make you think, to close your circle, to make you accountable, to hold your goals, to become an achiever. We just want to let you know you can hear our podcast every Wednesday at 8 o'clock at peoplethinkaboutit.com. We can be reached at peoplethinkaboutit@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, all the social media sites. And once again, we want to thank these fabulous, fabulous young ladies for coming in
Thank you
here.
for having me.
We want to thank our producer, Dorshell Clark. She put this episode together. And we just want to keep smiles on your face. Listen to us. Maybe something that we say can help you. We want to thank you guys for listening to People Think About It.
Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your friends so that you never miss an episode. A new episode drops every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Thank you for listening.